Using sophisticated technology, he forged a counterfeit degree. His resume, boasting a graduation from a prestigious university, left the dean deeply impressed. Consequently, the dean appointed him to oversee the emergency room, and he successfully secured the supervisory position. Every day, he managed a large staff of doctors and nurses, despite having no medical training whatsoever. He resorted to learning the nuances of the profession by watching movies. As a supervisor, his role was primarily delegatory, requiring him only to issue commands. One rainy evening, a girl named Brenda came to his office for a signature. Having recently removed her braces, she looked stunning. The two shared an impulsive kiss in the office, but their moment was interrupted by an urgent call from the ER. A child with a leg injury required immediate surgery. Being entirely unqualified and possessing a severe phobia of blood, he ordered a junior intern to handle the procedure. He then made an excuse to retreat to the restroom to vomit, realizing that posing as a doctor was a perilous game. He knew that if he continued the charade, exposure was inevitable. By this time, he had fallen in love with Brenda. Upon learning that her father was a lawyer, he decided to visit her home to propose. Brenda confided that she had once been estranged from her family, but he embraced her regardless of her past. He resolved to accompany her home to meet her parents. Meanwhile, Carl, a police officer, tracked down his address, but by the time the authorities arrived at the hospital, he had already vanished. At Brenda's home, he strove to present himself as a man of excellence, falsely claiming to hold a law degree from the same school Brenda's father had attended. Through targeted questioning, the father sensed he was lying, reasoning that a man of such high caliber wouldn't typically settle for Brenda. When confronted, he simply replied that he truly loved her. This romantic confession won over his future father-in-law. To legitimize his marriage, he incredibly passed the bar exam in just 2 weeks. With his father-in-law's assistance, he became a legal assistant. In this household, he finally experienced the warmth of a family. Watching the elderly couple dance reminded him of the happy home he once had, and he resolved to leave his life of deception behind. On Christmas, he called Carl, pleading for mercy and a chance at a normal life. Carl, however, remained resolute, stating that the pursuit would never end. On his wedding day, Carl arrived at the door. He was forced to confess his true identity to Brenda, asking her to take the money and flee with him. They agreed to meet at the airport 2 weeks later, and he escaped through a window. 2 weeks passed. When he arrived at the airport with his luggage, he saw Brenda, but she was followed by a swarm of police. She had betrayed him. The airport was crawling with undercover officers. Thinking quickly, he donned a pilot's uniform and staged a recruitment event for young flight attendants. He marched through the terminal flanked by a group of beautiful women. The police were so distracted by the stewardesses that they failed to notice him walking right behind them. He successfully fled the country and lived abroad, where he continued to forge perfect checks. Experts were baffled by their authenticity until they realized the specific printing press required was only available in France. Remembering that his mother was French, Carl tracked him down to a printing factory on Christmas Day. He wasn't surprised to see Carl. Carl bluffed, claiming the building was surrounded by French police. He initially considered running with his forged checks, but the unwavering look in Carl's eyes unnerved him. Fearing he would be gunned down the moment he stepped outside, he finally surrendered to the handcuffs.